What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode. Coach Joe here with Heartletics.com, and today I want to just dive into a little story. This past few days, I decided to just take a spontaneous trip down to Florida to visit my brother. It was actually my birthday, and this was a little birthday present to myself, which was, hey, fly down there, spend a few days with him, have some good company, good food, right, great workouts, the whole nine yards, and just be around family more. So we did that. And best believe, right, we definitely got our training in. So my brother and I, we signed up maybe 2 months ago for this event. And I've never heard of this event before, right? It's called High Rocks, okay? Think of High Rocks as kind of like CrossFit without being CrossFit. So with CrossFit, there's the Olympic lifts. And that's why I'm not a fan of CrossFit workouts, because if you're doing Olympic lifts with improper form, obviously high risk for injury. Nobody wants that, right? You don't want to risk it for the biscuit. So anyways, High Rocks is kind of like CrossFit style without all the Olympic lifts. And so my brother, he's been training for this, right? And I haven't been training at all, right? I've been pretty much doing my same, strength training routine. And then obviously I do have a half marathon coming up here in the end of October. So I'm like, all right, I'll be fine. I'll be playing it safe, right? So sure enough, me and my brother, Saturday morning, we go to this outdoor complex, which was amazing, by the way. It was one of the most beautiful gyms I've ever seen, all outdoors. It was great, and we get everything all set up. And I'm going to share with you guys exactly the format for High Rocks in terms of what we did for the training for our event that's coming up in Chicago in November. And I'm just going to say this, right? The episode for today is all about it's okay to be that guy. And I was that guy. And right. And so if you're listening to this right now and you're like, all right, hey, I'm in my 40s, I'm in my 50s, I'm in my 60s, maybe even my 70s, and I'm losing hope. I'm losing motivation. I'm losing the drive that I used to have back in the day. Trust me, right? This is definitely going to help you out, okay? So first off, High Rocks, right? What is High Rocks? So think about it like you're doing this 1K run, and that's pretty much just about like 0.6 miles, okay? So you do a 1K run, and then you do an event, right? And so the events are laid out as like you're doing the skiers. There's another one where you're doing sled pushes, sled pulls, burpee broad jumps, which is like the definition of insanity. It's horrible. Like whoever created those things, like they just hate humanity. I will say that, because that is the worst exercise in the world. Rowing, farmer's carry, sandbag lunges, which are extremely tough, and wall ball throws. Okay, so you do the 1K run, and then you'll do the event. So like the skier, right? And then you'll do another 1K run, and then you do the sled push. Do another 1K run, do the sled pulls. So it's running, event, running, event, running, event. And me and my brother, we got it all set up where we did not have 8 of the stations set up. We did not have the skiers or the rowers. We did everything else. So we did 6. And it destroyed me, right? Absolutely destroyed me. And I'm in great physical condition, right? I work out, anywhere from 5 to about, I would say 4 or 5 times a week strength training. I do my runs here and there. Like I'm in great shape, okay? Anyways, by the end of this, I was done. Like gasping for air, like my whole entire body was sore, beat up. And in that moment, I was thinking, I'm like, man, I'm that guy right now, right? I'm that guy. And I've been that guy plenty of times in my life. And I want to share with you, right, that it's okay to be that guy, right? And what does that mean, being that guy? It means you're a pupil, right? It means like you're just the student. You're learning. You're not the master. And I know as us, especially as adults, maybe you're listening to this right now and you have, children of your own like myself, we don't want to be coined as that guy, because it feels like it's not like a leadership role. But by all means, right, you got to understand it like this. It's perfectly fine to be that guy, right? Because it means you're putting the pride aside, you're putting the ego aside, and you're literally saying, hey, I'm that guy right now and I'm learning, right? I'm in my learning stage of life. And for getting ready for this event, that's exactly what it was. It was a learning stage for me where, okay, hey, coming back home to Ohio, I now realize I got to change up my workout routine. I got to change some things up so that way, in November, I'm showing up to be the best version of myself for that event, And this learning stage, we all go through it, right? If you ever, imagine the first time you've ever played sports, right? Ever, right? Maybe basketball or football or baseball, you were that guy, right? Or at the time, that kid, right? Where you had to learn. And it's awkward at first, but like it just goes to show you that anything that you do and you don't give up, it eventually gets easier, right? Like learning how to throw, a baseball or football, riding a bike, right? It's like the more you try, the better at it that you get. And so right now you might be somebody, once again, like, hey, you're a father, or you're middle aged, whatever the case may be. And you might have this part, right? I like to say the bad wolf creeping in the back of your head saying like, hey, what's the point of us even doing this? And maybe for you, that's like getting started on your health and fitness journey, because you're like, all right, I tried everything under the sun. Nothing seemed to really work for me. When I go to the gym, I don't really know what I'm doing. I feel awkward, right? You feel like you're that guy, and you feel like all eyes are on you. And sure, all eyes might be on you, right? If you don't know what you're doing. But regardless, right, this is the dividing line that you need to understand. That if you continue to show up and go to the gym, if you continue to work out, your life's going to improve, right? Your life's going to improve physically. It's going to make you live longer. Your life's going to improve mentally, so you don't have to worry about so much stress and anxiety anymore. Your life's going to improve emotionally, right? Because you're going to be more in tune with yourself, I like to say, right? More disciplined as well, and also spiritually. Like your life will dramatically improve, but you know what it's not going to do? It's not going to improve if you decide to just throw in the towel and quit because, hey, after your first workout, you're that guy and you're embarrassed, or it's this pride or this ego telling you like, hey, what's the point of us even trying anymore, right? We should just, go back to, having the Cheeto dust slobbered all over us and just drinking a keg every single night, right? Because we don't care about our health anymore. And I'm here today to tell you that like, there's always going to be stages of life, right, where you're going to be that guy, and it's perfectly fine. In fact, I want to inspire you guys even more, right? Because, at the end of the day, there's been some late bloomers, right? And I'm not talking about just like health and, mental health and all that stuff, physical health, but late bloomers in terms of like business success as well. And these are great guys to look up to if, once again, you're kind of feeling like you're stuck. You're like, oh man, what's the point of me even doing this anymore, right? So Michael Scott, right, the main guy from The Office, he didn't actually land that role until he was 42 years old. Right, he's been doing several different, sitcoms and movies, the whole nine yards, working his way up into this career status, right? But it wasn't until he's 42 to really he got, his name out there. So once again, right, you might be somebody, right, putting this into a health and fitness perspective where it's like, hey, you tried this, you never got the results you want, you never got the body that you want. Who knows? Maybe your time is coming. Right, but just like Michael Scott, if he would have just stopped acting and stopped, working hard on his dream, who knows, right? The Office wouldn't have that position, that that role wouldn't be available. But once again, he had to continue to try. He had to continue to push himself. Henry Ford actually didn't start the Model T car in 1908, and it wasn't until he's 45 years old, right? So Henry Ford, he's one of my favorite guys out there. Pretty much saying, hey, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. And he's somebody that we should definitely listen to. But in terms of just 45 years old and just now, getting things up and rolling with everything, like think about that, right? He's somebody that has been trying since, probably his late 20s, in terms of business, in terms of different ventures, in terms of growth and success. And when you're not seeing the success that you want, it gets very discouraging. Remember, you might be somebody that's trying your best to lose body fat or get off your blood pressure medications, and you're trying to eat healthy, you're trying to work out, but nothing seems to be working for you, right? Same old results, right? Well, guess what, right? Hey, just like Henry Ford, right? You got to continue to push. But Henry Ford is somebody that also understands this thing upstairs, the mindset. And having the right mindset, right? Remember, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right? So it's just like, hey, having the right mindset, that's going to be ultimately like that confidence factor, that belief, that, hey, you will be successful at reaching your goals. And everybody needs that. And lastly, right, let's not forget our good old boy, right, Colonel Sanders, right? Started KFC, the franchise, when he was 62 years old. Like literally 62 years old, started KFC, right? Kentucky Fried Chicken. Everybody knows that story of Colonel Sanders, right? In his 60s, just now blossoming and blooming. So why am I telling you that, right? Because at the end of the day, even though these are business guys that I just kind of shared with you, it's the same aspect to you, right, on your health and fitness journey. Meaning you have to become the CEO of your body, right? That's why I share with you three business, models to kind of look at, because they were the CEOs over their occupations, over their lives, right? They took full ownership. And for you, right, you got to take ownership over your life. You have to understand that, hey, you are the CEO of your life. You are the CEO of your body. You're the CEO of your health. And when you focus on fully understanding that, and you have that willpower, you have that tenacity, you have that discipline to show up, guess what? That's always going to be that driving force, right? You start thinking differently as like, oh, instead of, oh, the glass being half empty, you start thinking of the glass being half full. Like, hell, my time is coming, right? As long as I don't give up, I will eventually get there. So right now, you might be in your 40s, 50s, 60s, maybe even 70s and feeling discouraged, right? Because maybe every time you're trying something new, you feel like you're that guy and you feel like it's uncomfortable. You feel like it's awkward. You feel like, hey, what's the point of me even trying? But hear me out, right? I'm that guy right now training for this high rocks, okay? And when I was training for my half marathons, I was that guy learning how to pretty much run, and I despise running. When I started, mixed martial arts and cage fighting and boxing, jiu-jitsu, the whole 9 yards, I was always that guy, right? But guess what? Every champion first started off as a contender. And maybe for you to become the champion of your life and reach your health and fitness goals, you got to continue the grind. You got to continue to push through. And so whatever it is that you're going through right now, just keep in mind, right? You're not just going through it, but you're actually growing through it. And maybe that might be for you to just, hey, work a little bit harder, have a little bit more discipline, right? And most importantly, not throw in the towel, not quit. So I really hope that you guys got some inspiration from today's episode. If you did, definitely give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment down below letting me know your biggest takeaway. And if you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, I would greatly appreciate that if you did. As always, guys, this has been Coach Joe with Heartletics.com, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Peace out, Girl Scouts.